What is happening, my guys? This is the second official episode of Party Viking Talks. Today, I am sitting down with a member of Minajatwa, Mr. Chill, CJ Ward. It's gonna be interesting. He's looking pretty chill from what I can see. That room's nice and chill looking. Just so you know, I am doing this show every Friday night at 8 p.m. Central Time, and if you want to check it out later, the edited version of it, it will be on Party Viking Talks on YouTube. So without further ado, let's jump right into it.
When it's time to party, we will party.
CJ, what's up, my guy?
Yeah, please turn my audio on.
Yeah,
bro,
right.
I am.
Be weird to sit here and talk to you and no one can hear you. It's just like have to lip read.
Well, some people are very good at it. I am not. It's got me into some trouble.
Nobody in my chat's that good, so.
I am. I mean, is it safe to say that I'm chilling?
I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that you're chilling. Like that background, the lights and everything you got going on look mighty chill, my guy.
This is the Chill Nebula.
It's looking absolutely chill.
What's going on, man?
Oh, just hanging. I would say that I'm chilling, but I feel like if I try to say it, I'm not chilling nearly as hard as you are right now. So I'm just hanging.
Just hanging?
Yeah, man.
I'll take it.
Just kind of a very calm party over here, over in the party zone. I think I guess I would call it. If you're in the Chill Nebula, I'm definitely in the party zone.
I like it.
All right, so I wanted to get started. The way I like to start this off is I just want to give I want you to give me kind of a short overview of your wrestling career. Like what got you started, what got you interested in wrestling, and kind of what have you done in the business so far?
Yeah, so I mean, what got me in, right? I mean, what all got us in? We're fans who are looking for that something extra.
Mm-hmm.
I started in Oklahoma. I did not know what I was doing. I kept out of college. I knew I wanted to do something for me, and I don't know why. But when I left WrestleMania 30, we were in that car ride, and for some reason it just hit me. I want to wrestle. So I started looking for places. Couldn't find any places really except for that were in Tulsa, which from Oklahoma City is like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah, something like that.
So couldn't really find anything, but then I was, as luck would have it, I was actually in the gym one day after work. There was a guy working out there who I had actually recognized from a few of the wrestling flyers. And I just kind of, and ironically enough, actually, I don't think that's the right use of ironically, but little fun note is that actually Monday Night Raw was on the TV as well at the gym.
Who was it that who was it that you saw in the gym?
So his name is the gentleman Jake O'Brien.
I think I've met him actually. I think I worked a show with him in Oklahoma.
He is a fantastic dude. He got my footstep in. He allowed me to take my first bump in a ring, and that's how I got going. And then another wrestler by the name of Drake Gallows took up training in Oklahoma City, and I started there, and then a month after I was there, Prince Mahali showed up to that same training facility.
See, I know for a fact I've worked shows with Prince Mahali here in Dallas at MPX.
Bro, that is my dude.
My favorite thing about Prince Mahali. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
no.
There was one show. We were coming back from intermission. It was right. The first match after intermission was Marcus Rose, and I don't remember who he was wrestling that night. But
Doesn't matter.
But Mahali had gone out during it, like right at the end of intermission, to go find his, I guess to find his necklace. I think he left his chain at like ringside, and Marcus's music had started.
Oh my god!
And Mahali was like walking back, and so Marcus and Mahali came like face to face on the stage, and Marcus had this look on like, what the fuck are you doing out here? Like, what the hell is happening?
Oh, dude, it's on the network.
Yeah.
Holly goes out there and he's like, "Where's my carpet? Has anyone seen my carpet?" And he turns around and there's Marcus Rose. And Marcus looks at Mahali and then looks at the camera and is like, "I don't know."
Marcus gives another look like, get the fuck out of my way. Like, this is...
Oh. No, that's probably one of my favorite MPX moments, and it doesn't even involve me.
I think my favorite MPX moment involving Marcus Rose was it was him and El Sapo. So that was as good as you can imagine.
Botchamania spot?
No, not the Botchamania spot. Same match, but at the very end of the match, Marcus went for his draped pile driver on the second rope. Sapo didn't go immediately. He waited and like held up. He kind of like hesitated. So Marcus lands and fucking Sapo does this front roll in and just axe kicks Marcus right in the balls. Like he just comes down heel to the nuts. And I was like, I don't know how you fuck it up that hard, but at least you made it funny.
If someone can find a way, Sapo can find a way.
It was the same match as the Botchamania spot, though, where he goes for the dive and just eats shit.
Oh, God. Okay, MPX. So that's really it. I mean, that's really like my Oklahoma history. I got started probably like 7-8 months after I started training. It wasn't very long at all until they threw me out there. And babyface.
Oh, you
hardcore starch babyface.
Started off as a babyface, which is weird because
hardcore.
I don't think I've ever seen you work as a babyface. I think it's always been heel work.
I don't think anybody in Texas has seen me. Even the shot I made in Texas when I was primarily wrestling in Oklahoma for not the current Mineral Wells Pro Wrestling, but there was like a CWPW.
CWP.
Yeah, so a group of us came down and worked a spot for them, and even when I came down then, I was heel.
I want to say I wasn't on that. I worked a few of those CWP shows with some of the guys from Oklahoma, but I don't think you were ever there with them.
It was a strange show.
Because I was there when like Fuego was there, and now he's on fucking AEW. And
bro, I am all for it. I'll give Fuego as much love as possible.
Oh, absolutely.
Fuego used to come in back to Mahali and I wrestling in Oklahoma City. Fuego would come in and train with us. He was bringing around his cousin at the time and showing his cousin things. And Fuego would come in and show us some things, and Fuego was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
He was so nice to us, still keeps up with Prince Mahali and myself, and make sure we're doing okay.
Super humble guy, super nice guy. I literally...
Amazing.
I cannot think of a bad thing to say about Fuego. He's an amazing person, super nice guy, very down to earth, and very, very humble.
Love him. And then I don't know, something hit me, and it's not that I look down on the wrestling in Oklahoma, but I felt like I needed something more. I felt like I need something more room to grow almost. And there are some good wrestlers in Oklahoma, but I felt like I needed to come down here to kind of spread my wings a little bit.
Look, if it wasn't for Oklahoma wrestling, I never would have met Dimitri. I never would have met Wes. And
I met Dimitri and Wes for the first time in Oklahoma, and Dexter Hardaway. When I first met Dex, he wasn't wrestling at the time. He had.
It was kind of like that retirement era that he had.
Yeah, and O'Brien would always tell me, you know, if there's a hand group of people you can go into this state for true advice. And Dexter was always one of the ones he said that I could go to for like legit advice.
XAQ 2005, thank you for the follow, man. He said, "Cap this is Gulpa." I don't know what that means, but
I don't know either. But hey, you know what? He's following me, so that's chill.
Hey. Oh, this is Ghoul. Oh, that's what the fuck, Ghoul? Why'd you make a second Twitch? Whatever.
Ghost accounts.
Yeah, man. Gotta have those bot accounts. So anyway, so yeah, that's
So I'm here.
So you started in Oklahoma. When did you come down to Texas?
Shit. when was the first U.S. G1 gimmick?
Fuck, I don't know.
Like 3-4 years ago.
Sure.
That summer, it was so that happened in July. I moved down here the next August. So I want to say August 2017.
How does Texas living compare to Oklahoma living?
It's more expensive.
Yeah, absolutely it is. It 100% is.
Especially I'm in Frisco, which can be a little uppity.
Yeah, you're in white privilege town there.
Exactly.
That is
So it's a
expensive
little bit
living.
more expensive, and I don't like driving an hour just to go across town.
Yeah, it sucks. I used to live in when I first moved up to Dallas, I lived in Uptown. So we had a kinda okay old 2-bedroom apartment, which luckily over like 4 years we had just kept like different people had just kept renewing the same lease, so we kept the same price. So our 2-bedroom was like $12.50 a month, which
That's not bad for a 2-bedroom in Uptown.
no, but they told us, because there was one point I lived there for like a little over a year before I was ever on the lease, and they told us, they were like, hey, either he gets on the lease or we're gonna have to start charging you the month-to-month price. And we were like, well, what's the month-to-month price? They said $1,900. Now wait, you have a copy of that lease that I can sign right now, or
Where can I sign again?
do you need blood or what? I asked them when we moved out, I was like, hey, what would a 1-bedroom cost? And they were like, oh, about $1,100. And I went, never mind, I'll move to Arlington.
How much does a couch cost?
In Uptown, about $900.
Yeah, I'll see you in Fort Worth.
And that comes with 2 roach roommates. Anyway, so CJ, moving a little away from wrestling, or moving a lot away from wrestling, I know for a fact that you are a big fan of pretty much anything that happened in the 1990s.
It's the best decade of all time.
You did show me beforehand. Can I get a look at the drink you just popped open there? Dog, is that a surge?
A good old delicious surge.
Dude, I remember popping those open, watching Rocket Power on Nickelodeon, and just, dude, Rocket Power was my jam, and that was the best Nickelodeon show ever, and you cannot change my mind about it.
Do you have time? Because I agree. I agree.
Got all the
Rocket
time of the world,
Power,
my man.
Rocket Power is great, and I love Rocket Power. It came off like the extreme sports phenomenon of like the late 90s, early 2000s, where like we love Tony Hawk.
Yep.
We all love like fucking skateboarding and the X Games, and we all had Razor scooters.
For one of my viewers, how old are you, CJ?
I turned 31 in September.
There you
so I'm
go.
30 right now.
So yeah, he is old enough to remember the 90s. He definitely is. That was like his the prime of his youth.
I was born in 89. 9/5/89.
Oh,
so you do the math.
So you got to experience all of the 90s.
Every bit of it.
I was born in 92, so by the time I was old enough to like really know or be able to like really appreciate what was happening around me, it was like 98, 99. So I was like at the very end of the 90s whenever I started like I was like full on I was probably in elementary school during the heyday of like the Gene Co's and the
Gene Co's.
The Gene Co's. I think Zero still wears the Tech Decks.
Tech Decks, yeah.
Yes. Dude, I saw some of those at Target earlier and I had to physically like restrain myself from buying them.
Oh man, those were the fucking days, bro. I mean, 98, 99, definitely two solid, formidable years. 98 for us, both WCW and WWF were reaching like high mountaintops, right?
Yup.
Pokemon just came out.
Yes. The original
the Nintendo
151.
64 is only like 2 years old.
Okay. Before we move past that, what was your favorite N64 game?
Man, there's so many. If you were to ask me when I was a kid, I would have told you GoldenEye.
Of course, everyone's first like real. experience with first-person shooters and like first-person shooter multiplayer?
Oh yeah. I mean, it started off everything for us. Like our older brothers and everything had like Doom and like Wolfenstein.
Yup.
But we had GoldenEye.
Were you one of the people that whenever you played with your friends, did you outlaw Oddjob or were you an Oddjob user?
So we would outlaw Oddjob, but it was only because my friend who lived down the street, his older brother, so we would play slappers only, and he was the one who'd be like, nah, fuck that, Oddjob.
Chill Rabbit
711
says Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey, and I cannot tell you the amount of time and effort I put into that game.
So Chill Rabbit, I know Chill Rabbit. Chill Rabbit and I go back.
Okay.
And he, if you were to ask me what my favorite N64 game would have been in our college days, it would have been Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey.
No.
We used to have a whiteboard. We used to have a whiteboard in the middle of our apartment with a drawing of a championship belt. And that championship belt was solely for the purpose of us playing Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey and who came up with the victory that night. I mean having intense Wayne Gretzky 3D battles.
How many friendships did you ruin with Mario Kart?
Not many. I was actually always kind of like okay at Mario Kart. I'm better at Mario Kart 64 now than I was as a kid.
Oh man,
I understand the drifting technique a lot more now.
Oh yeah,
I did then.
That the R, man. As a kid, I never understood the drifting technique, but I was still good at the game. Now I actually understand it. You got to hit R and kind of wiggle back and forth.
Kind of wiggle.
Get those yellow letters and then get the boost out of the corner. But back in the day, it was like, why can I hop? This is a weird mechanic. Like,
yeah, it was just like, oh, maybe if I bunny hop, maybe that's just getting me around the corners faster. I don't know. But we all thought we were fucking geniuses.
Follow up to that, have you ever played the Mario Kart 64 drinking game?
Drunk driving.
Yes, the drunk driving.
No,
Ooh.
I haven't. And it bothers me because we talked about it so many times when I was in college and we never did it.
My next door neighbor, my best friend, we talk about it all the time, but then I remember that playing any sort of game like that with him, you were at a distinct disadvantage because I've never seen someone who can put away beer that fast. Like, for those of you who don't know, the concept of the game is that you start a race, you open a beer and place it by your feet. You have to finish the beer before you finish the race, but you cannot drink while you drive. So if you want to take a drink, you have to pull over to the side, come to a complete stop, and then drink. But my best friend Howie can pound a beer in seconds, like real quick, and just like pound it and go. He would kill all of us. Like, I wouldn't stand the slightest bit of a chance because as much beer as I drink, I can't chug a beer. I cannot do it. I don't know why. I
always drip a little bit.
Nah, see, it's not even that. I'll take a gulp, but after that, I'm just like, I don't know if it's just I don't enjoy the taste enough to be able to just like chug it or what.
Yeah.
But I just can't do it.
I mean, we used to play Flip Cup as our overtime in beer pong. Like if there was an overtime in beer pong, we'd just say fuck it and we play Flip Cup. And I always thought I was a good anchor, but looking back on it, I don't know if I was.
See, stories like this kind of make me wish I had gone to a real college. I went to technical school and dropped out.
Yeah.
I went to community college, then dropped out, and then I went to technical school and then dropped out. So I don't have any like crazy party stories from college. I was like, when I was in technical school, between classes, me and a buddy of mine would go to his dorm and watch The Fast and the Furious. And that's about as wild as I got.
I mean, if you want to have the bill that came with it,
No, I don't.
I'll gladly send that to you every month.
What college did you go to?
Which one did I not go to?
Look, man, Baylor University is the only school in Waco, Texas that I have not dropped out of. So
I started off here in Frisco at Collin County Community College, and then from here, God, I'm about to give y'all a lot of like behind the scenes shit. I went to Collin County here.
Okay.
From Collin County, I went to the University of Oklahoma. From the University of Oklahoma, I went to the University of Kansas.
Oh, yikes.
From the University of Kansas, I went to Johnson County Community College. From Johnson County Community College, I went to North Central Texas College. And then from NCTC, I went to pro wrestling school.
I can't fathom the amount of like college applications you had to fill out.
Oh my god!
Like I feel like so after I tried college twice, I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm done. I'm not going back. It's not for me. I obviously cannot hack it. You just said nope. I'm gonna keep trying. Was it all for the same major, or did you go for different things everywhere?
No, all for the same major, all the way up until the end.
What was your major?
Meteorology.
How? What the fuck? Okay, so it threw me off because I was watching another video with Dimitri, and he went to college for fucking oceanography. You went to college for meteorology.
Yeah, man.
What the fuck?
Bro, I'm an Oklahoma kid who grew up when the fucking movie Twister came out.
I feel like
and I was a massive OU fan.
I feel
all I wanted to do was go to OU football games and chase tornadoes.
I feel like in Oklahoma you really don't need a meteorology degree. You can pretty much just go, it's either gonna be fucking hot or it's gonna be a tornado. Pick one.
Pretty much. Just pick one and go with it, and that's pretty much your guess.
If it looks cloudy outside, stay the fuck inside.
If it's sunny outside, stay the fuck inside.
All right, so more back onto the '90s topic. Were you a Cartoon Network or a Nickelodeon guy or a Disney Channel guy even?
Bro, so this is where it gets crazy. So definitely early on in my childhood, Nickelodeon.
Okay.
I have this like so the way the timeline plays out in my head is early on in the 90s, you have Nickelodeon and you have Fox Kids.
Yep.
And those two kind of had the shows. Nickelodeon comes out in the early 90s with its SNCC lineups,
Yep.
which include like The Adventures of Pete and Pete, Are You Afraid of the Dark, Closer Explains It All, Rugrats, and Ren and Stimpy was on the original lineup, and something else. And Fox Kids had Power Rangers. Fox Kids had Batman the Animated Series. Fox Kids had the Animaniacs. And Fox Kids at the time had Tiny Toons. I remember, son of a bitch, I don't remember where I was going with that. Tiny Toons was the ones, it was all the Looney Tunes, but as like babies, wasn't it? Kind of, but it wasn't really the Looney Tunes. Like it wasn't Bugs Bunny, it was Buster Bunny. Okay, that's a different show. Like that. Because I remember there was a show that had the Looney Tunes as babies. I think it was just called Looney Tunes Babies or something like that. Oh man, Hanna-Barbera definitely went through like a baby phase because they did. Well, no, it wasn't Hanna-Barbera, but just off of the success of like the Muppet Babies. Yep. Like they did like a pup named Scooby-Doo. They did like the Flintstones Babies. I will never fully recognize a pup named Scooby-Doo as an actual Scooby-Doo series. While I watched it, pup named Scooby-Doo. while I did watch it, and I watched a lot of it as a kid, looking back on it, I really don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it as much as I did the original Scooby-Doo series or the what was it, the new Scooby-Doo movies where they had the all of the guest stars. I haven't kept up with the new movies. No. I've only seen. That's what they were called. There was this. So back in the day, there were two different Scooby-Doo series. You had Scooby-Doo Where Are You, which was the actual Scooby-Doo series, but then you had another series that also took place, or they also came out within the late '60s, early '70s. Called the new Scooby-Doo movies, and that was the one that you got the guest stars like Don Knotts, you had the Addams Family, the Harlem Globetrotters, Batman and Robin from the original Super Friends. Okay, see, I didn't know that was because when I think of Scooby-Doo, especially, I think of seeing all the reruns on Cartoon Network, and they just kind of like lumped those in with all the other ones. I guess I never differentiated those as a separate cartoon than the original Scooby-Doo Where Are You?
Yep. And fun fact, in the episode when they had Batman and Robin, Robin and Shaggy are both voice acted by the same person. They were both voice acted by Casey Kasem.
The great Casey Kasem.
Absolutely. I didn't realize, I started watching What's New Scooby-Doo today because it's on Netflix, and they still had Casey Kasem playing the voice of Shaggy.
It's fantastic.
Oh,
Casey Kasem, like,
running around in the background.
I'm getting a little dark too. I might open up a little bit of light here in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
They picked like the perfect two people to do Scooby-Doo. Casey Kasem and Matthew Lillard are like the two perfect Shaggies.
Absolutely. If they ever attempt to remake or make another live action Scooby-Doo, Matthew Lillard is the only person I will ever recognize as Shaggy.
The only. I'm letting a little light here real quick.
All right, you good? Also, chat, if there's any questions you guys would like to ask, I will have a little bit towards the end where you guys can ask your questions and I'll get him to answer them as best as possible. I know from the looks of it, Take It Easy and Chill Rabbit are both probably pretty knowledgeable on CJ as it is, so...
That helps any?
A little bit, yeah.
Well, I tried to help some. I don't know if it did or not.
I helped a little bit.
All right.
Anyway, back to the 90s. So you have, if I understand correctly, you have a podcast.
Oh my gosh, where we talk about the greatest 90s show of all time.
No, because you talk about Seinfeld, not Married with, you don't talk about Married with Children.
Oh man, Seinfeld. I have a deep love for Seinfeld, and we actually, just before I came on here, we just got done recording our podcast for season 2, episode 2.
Okay, and you do like an episodic breakdown for each episode, correct?
Yeah, kind of like an in-depth view at an episode. We kind of dissect it, find interesting little tidbits that maybe we didn't know that we'd find interesting for maybe you to know as well. Huh. And it's just kind of our gushing love for the show.
What is it about Seinfeld that like really made you fall in love that hard with it?
The humor. I mean, as simplistic as it is. I mean, that's just it's just the humor. It's self-deprecating, but it's not like it's them putting themselves in like the worst possible situation just for it to blow up in their faces. There really is no like hero of the show.
George Costanza is the hero of the show on it, obviously.
Bro, truth. But like none of them are really good people. And then I think that spawned. I mean, first of all, the history of it all, right? Of it just being a show just about nothing.
Actually,
but without It's Always Sunny.
Fun fact.
Without
fun fact.
Seinfeld, you don't get It's Always Sunny. Fun fact.
Fun fact. Seinfeld, even though most people think it's the show that's about nothing, because there actually is an episode in there where they pitch Seinfeld basically. Yeah, they pitch the show to a station. I believe it was Jerry Seinfeld that was quoted saying that it's not a show about nothing. It's actually a show based on the creative process when comedians are coming up with their stand-up routines.
Yes, that was the foundation of it, right? That's what they say. But to show that, I mean, to really wrap your head about what that is, it's really about nothing. I mean, they're having simplistic conversations, but that is how comedians get a lot of their shit.
It's a lot of everyday situations that they're able to find the humor in.
So what happened was NBC came to Seinfeld saying, "Hey, we want to do a show." Mm-hmm. Seinfeld didn't really know what to do with it. He was only like in his mid-20s.
What do you mean?
He really didn't know where he wanted to take it, and he wasn't like super good friends with Larry David at the time. But they did these shows together, and Larry David had TV experience. He had been Rabbit. Help me out here. I can't remember what the show was called. It was like a Saturday Night Live kind of sketch show. It didn't run very long. No, it wasn't Mad TV, and it wasn't In Living Color. It was called something else. He had worked on there, like Michael Richards, who plays Kramer, was also on that show.
Kramer was by far my favorite character from all of Seinfeld. Kramer
my mom
was the dude.
Calls him a sex symbol, which says a lot of disturbing things about my mom. But it's something I never really understood, how Cosmo Kramer is a sex symbol. But hey,
there's a reason your mom has a hot tub in her living room.
He got Calvin Klein to think it too. But Larry David and Seinfeld sat in a diner and they just started going off about random stuff. In fact, they even do a bit of it later where it's like, why do they call it salsa? It's just because they like to say the name salsa, salsa, salsa. That's pretty much the conversation they had, and that they're like, this is the show. Like just these everyday little conversations. That's the show.
And I feel like that kind of formula for a sitcom really it helped kind of inspire a lot of later sitcoms. When you had stuff like Friends, you had stuff like Cheers, which actually I think Cheers came before Seinfeld. Did
come before. What launched Seinfeld was they kind of held Seinfeld back for a few weeks, and then they re-brought on Seinfeld to air immediately after Cheers. And when they did that, it retained a lot of their core audience, and it really made Seinfeld what it is.
After that, you had shows come out like Friends, you had How I Met Your Mother, you had My Wife and Kids, you had the Bernie Mac Show, George Lopez, and a lot of other sitcoms like that kind of followed along the same formula where it revolved around a core group of friends that there was never anything that like really, nothing outlandish, like unbelievably outlandish really happened to them. They were placed in a lot of like strange situations, but it was something that like on your weirdest fucking day, that might have happened kind of thing.
Right. Little bits of life that we could all relate to, that we all kind of knew happened.
Yeah, and I mean that. So, what's your opinion on Friends?
I like it. I've watched Friends a lot, but I don't watch it to this day, and I don't know when the next time I'll turn it on is. It's something that when I see it's on, I now go in the other direction because I'm like, I've seen these all a bajillion times. I would really be okay. Like, I appreciate for what Friends is, but I would be okay if I didn't see another Friends episode for a long time. Would
you agree that How I Met Your Mother is just a more modern Friends?
I can't because I've watched a lot less a lot less How I Met Your Mother than Friends. I actually have not watched How I Met Your Mother all the way through, and I can't tell you I've seen a full season of How I Met Your Mother all the way through from start to finish.
That's fair. It's a really good show, but it's one of those, like, if you've watched Friends, you've watched How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
It's a group of people that hang out in one place. You know, in How I Met Your Mother, it's the bar that they go to. In Friends, it's Central Perk, the coffee shop. You know, it's kind of like that, where it's the same friend group dynamic.
Yeah.
And you know, they have the same kind of characters. You know, you've got the one guy who's extremely annoying and kind of a terrible character in Ted and Ross. You've got your womanizer character, which is Barney Stinson and Joey. Yeah, Joey is my favorite character on TV.
Everybody's.
No, Joey's.
In fact, I can even tell you that I remember when I was a kid, I was a fan of the show Joey, and I think I was probably the only fan of the show.
I think so.
Joey.
You might have been the only fan of that, because I remember when they tried to do that spin-off, and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna make this spin-off," and then like one season later, they were like, "Ah, that didn't fucking work."
I liked it because it had Joey and it had the guy who was like the smart stoner friend in Road Trip. And I loved the movie Road Trip, so I thought he was funny just off of that.
I don't know that I've ever seen Road Trip.
Oh man, Tom Green, that dude. It's got why can't I the dude in Rat Race.
Which
What's the
one?
dude's name? The main, I should say the main character in Rat Race because there's a lot of main characters in Rat Race.
Yeah, let's say there's a handful.
The short little white guy.
He said the guy from Clueless. Are you talking about Seth Green?
No, not Seth Green, but he is in Clueless. I can't think of his name.
IMDb exists for a reason, chat. It's
But
an
yeah.
ace. It's an ace.
That guy.
It's Rowan Atkinson.
No.
Okay,
Sorry,
no.
not.
The skater guy.
The guy from Clueless.
I know which one you're talking. He was in Grind. The guy in Rat Race, he gets his tongue pierced and can't talk.
No,
It's
not that guy.
Because Chad said the skater guy. That was the one I was thinking of. The one that was in Grind, and the guy that's with Seth Green. That he gets his tongue pierced and his tongue's real swollen, so he can't talk.
Yeah, I thought that guy was fun. I love Rat Race. I thought that guy was hysterical. The guy I am thinking of is Breckin Meyer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I got you.
Sean William Scott is in it. The very sexy Amy Smart. DJ Qualls is in it. It's a good movie.
If we're gonna talk about sexy, I need to ask you the standard question. Being a '90s baby, obviously,
How sexy am I? I don't know.
Obviously, very. But being a '90s kid growing up in the '90s, I assume at some point in the '90s you had your first like celebrity crush.
Yep.
Who was CJ Ward's first celebrity crush?
Cameron Diaz.
Oh my God, yes, Cameron Diaz.
The moment when she shows up in Stanley Ipkiss's office in The Mask.
Oh yeah.
I was actually just telling my friend the other day. That's the first time I can remember going, "What's going on down there?"
That's the first time you experienced your shorts getting a little tighter.
Yeah, I was like, "Whoa, what is this?"
I felt the same way the first time I ever saw Kimberly from the Power Rangers. The original
Angel
Pink
Star.
Ranger. Yes. Oh,
Very
oof.
fine.
Or Kelly Bundy. Christina Applegate.
Okay, I like me some Christina Applegate. My next one was Topanga. Topanga was my big one.
Really? Yeah. It wasn't Kelly Kapowski.
No, I was not much. That's Saved by the Bell, right?
Yeah, Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, I was not much, except for my older sister watching Saved by the Bell and me liking Screech, because that's about my age group.
Fucking Dustin Diamond.
I was not, who will now kick anybody's ass if you ask him.
Yeah.
I was not a huge Saved by the Bell fan growing up.
He got bullied enough by Zach Morris growing up. He was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna kick some ass now."
Look, I'm now a black belt.
Yeah, right. So back to the video games, man. Dustin Diamond got arrested. Oh shit, what did he get arrested for? Going back to
it doesn't surprise me that he got arrested.
not really, no. So is it safe to say you were more of a Nintendo player over the PlayStation 1?
Assault.
Oh,
No.
He got arrested for assault. He got in a bar fight and I guess kicked the shit out of somebody. Which
Yeah,
He pulled a knife on them.
he pulled a knife on someone.
that sounds on brand.
Yeah, I mean it's Screech. So
I would say I was Nintendo up to a point. I had both.
Mhm.
I had I had a PlayStation growing up, and I had like Crash 2, which I loved. Rugrats Search for Reptar, which I still have to this day.
I remember that game and the god awful controls of it.
Oh, the controls are awful, but the mini golf game is legendary.
I was about to say the mini golf mini game in there was my absolute favorite thing to do.
That's all I played on it.
Yeah, no, I never tried to do like the story or like beat the game or anything. All I did was figure out how to get to play mini golf, and I just did that all the time.
Yeah, that's I would have friends come over and we played mini golf. I met one of my best friends of all time because of Tekken. I played a lot of Tekken 2 and then later on Tekken Tag.
Who was your main?
And Tekken 2 or Tekken Tag because it changes.
Either one. Give me Tekken 2 and then Tekken Tag.
Tekken 2 Kazuya. Like gotta go just main OP Kazuya in Tekken 2.
100%.
And then Tekken Tag, my main team was Eddie Gordo and Law.
Okay,
that's my Tekken Tag team.
I was with you on one of those, but not on the other one. So with the most recent job I had back in December, we actually hit a very, very slow time.
Yeah.
And I worked weekend shifts, so literally Saturday and Sundays we had literally nothing going on. So we would bring a PlayStation up to the shop and hook it up to a 90-inch TV and sit there and play video games, and we would switch between Mortal Kombat and Tekken. And when I played Tekken, I hadn't played a Tekken game since Tekken Tag Tournament.
Oh, wow.
Yo, what's up, Spade? Glad you stopped by, man. But, and I hadn't played a Tekken game since Tekken Tag. And so I was like, all right. So I started going through the characters, and I was like, who the fuck are all these people? And I started looking through, and I was like, oh, there's my old main from Tekken Tag. Let's try it out. Turns out he's still a freaking beast, and that's Hwoarang.
Oh, dude. Hwoarang. So his fucking kicks, man. He's got his fucking killer fucking kicks.
Dude, and what got me is he does one where he kind of like spins out and throws like a roundhouse kick. And that one, every time, I would just juke people and then hit that roundhouse and it just combo the shit out of him because he was a combo monster.
Yeah, if you can get combos down in Tekken Tag, it's pretty fucking deadly.
Oh yeah, especially with Eddie Gordo too, because
Eddie Gordo, I just see the fucking headstand tornado kick.
Yeah, the capoeira style because his character never stopped moving, and a lot of his were like, oh, he drops to the ground and then kicks mid and then does kick high and then all this other stuff, and it was like, oh, it's so hard to like figure out where the hell all these strikes are coming
flow
from.
Together because he can like roll forward, then he rolls backwards, and he goes back into the capoeira. Oh my gosh!
But then you had I think one of my favorites from Tekken Tag was Paul Phoenix, and it was because of that hairdo, fucking high top. I don't even know what to call that. It's not even a flat top. That was a plateau.
Boom, straight up, very very Gerald from like Hey Arnold-esque.
Yeah, but like blonde.
Yeah,
but that lightning punch that he hit just like launched them across the map and did like a third of their HP in one shot.
I just always saw him as like a Street Fighter ripoff, so I never gave him the time of day.
Yeah, he looked like Ken if Ken stuck a fork in an electrical socket. Just and then hairs up. So what else, like as a kid, I know we touched on the Nickelodeon and stuff. Moving to more so the late 90s, were you ever did you ever watch any of the Cartoon Network stuff? Were you a fan of Toonami?
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say, right? So like early 90s you had Fox Kids and you had Nickelodeon.
Mm-hmm.
As time went by, like once Power Rangers kind of got past the movie, in my mind it was kind of done.
Yeah.
So after that, like really sorry, I'm jumping around.
Oh, you're
Batman
good.
the Animated Series ends up jumping from Fox to Cartoon Network. Your syndicated shows like Animaniacs and Tiny Toons eventually jumping and going over to Cartoon Network. So Cartoon Network starts to, in the mid to late 90s, start to mold this Time Warner kind of network. And they strike gold in '96 with like Dexter's Lab. A few of their cartoons become a hit. Powerpuff Girls,
Ed, Edd n
Eddy, Cow and Chicken. Even though it's really hard for me to go back and watch Cow and Chicken now.
It's such a weird show, man.
Johnny Bravo is still great, and Courage the Cowardly Dog is still great. But those cartoons take form.
Yeah.
And then Toonami comes, and Toonami hits at a time where I'm like 10 years old. I'm looking for that, like, you know, the adult thing or whatever, and it's just badass action cartoons.
And then here's Dragon Ball Z and Yu Yu Hakusho and all this, like, right in your fucking face.
Gundam Wing and
every day at 5 o'clock.
It would be like, so I would get home from school, and it'd be Nickelodeon for like either Legends of the Hidden Temple or like a Guts rerun, and then like figure it out. And then I would jump over to Cartoon Network and catch the beginning of Toonami, which would go like Sailor Moon, then Gundam Wing, or maybe even like Sailor Moon, then like a Reboot, and then Dragon Ball Z.
You just fucked me up with Reboot, man. I forgot about that show.
Bob going in fighting the viruses in the games.
The late 90s like CGI, like computer animated. It was so bad, but it was so good at the same time. Like it looked so creepy.
Oh, I loved it.
But it worked.
I love it. Yeah, it's hard to watch now.
That was like the predecessor to a few years later. I think in the like mid 2000s, they came out with a show called Code Lyoko. That was along this.
I've heard of it, but I never watched it.
It was along the same. You had these kids who like in real life were kind of dorky kids, but they had like this computer mainframe that they were in charge of protecting, and they would have all these viruses and stuff that they had to like VR basically like go into the mainframe and protect it from all these viruses and do all this other crazy stuff. It was basically Reboot, but they updated the animation a little bit.
Yeah. Reboot always reminded me, and I don't know if hardly anybody know these movies, but the movies Lawnmower Man and Lawnmower Man 2.
No, I think you're the only person that knows anything about those movies.
But
isn't that just
a lot of that.
Isn't that just the Water Boy?
No, Lawnmower Man was like there was this like creepy guy who lived like next door to this kid or whatever, and he was very into like virtual reality, and kid gets sucked into this virtual reality world, and
so it was terrible. Tron. It was Tron.
It was it was Tron with like Reboot graphics.
Oh, okay, so that's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
That makes me a little uncomfortable. So when Toonami hit, like what was the show that like every day you had to watch? Like if there was
Dragon Ball Z.
Abso-fucking-lutely. That is
Dragon
my man
Ball
right
Z.
there. Dragon Ball Z was my shit.
It was the show, and then like when we caught it here in the States and it took off was like right at the end of like your Saiyan saga, and then we got like the Namek saga. That was like the bulk of our Dragon Ball Z watching was the Namek saga.
The fight with Frieza and all that, like whenever it
was the ultimate moment. That fucking Super Saiyan first time. The fucking drama. I remember
seeing that, and then like I think I was in like 3rd or 4th grade whenever that first aired. I was in elementary school, and I remember like being out on the playground with my friends, like trying my hardest to go fucking Super Saiyan, and like I'm face turning red, and I'm like sweating, about to pass out because I'm trying to get my hair to stand up. But at the same time, like around the same time, we had Pokemon was still huge.
Yeah.
You had the original 151, and the games the games that went along with that. Like we spent a lot of time playing the Game Boy Color, playing Red, Blue, and Yellow. My dude, you got blue. I was a red and yellow man.
I've got.
Oh, he's about to break out the collection here. Oh, he has yellow. Oh my god, with the original case.
Bro.
My god.
Bro. Quarantine's been good, brother.
No shit. I actually had I had a viewer one time. I forgot to message him back. I was talking one time on stream about. So when I was a kid, I had Legend of Zelda: The Ocarina of Time, which I know you've played through recently. Yes, I watched a little bit of your stream when you were fighting Volvaga, the subterranean lava dragon in the fire temple. And I was talking about how I had the game as a kid, but my mom, when I was between 4th and 5th grade, my mom moved with her husband at the time to South Carolina. And so that's where that game went. It went to South Carolina. That's where my N64 was. When I went out to visit her, I made friends with some kids that lived in my neighborhood, and one of them asked to borrow the game. And I was like, yeah, sure. I'm never going to play it. Because at the time, I didn't grasp the game. I didn't grasp the concept of the game, and I wasn't very good at it. I think I had made it into the Great Deku Tree, and that was it. I never made it out of Kokiri Forest.
Very beginning.
Yeah, no. So I was stuck in the very beginning. Couldn't figure out what the hell to do. So he was like, hey, can I borrow it? And I was like, yeah, sure. Before I could get it back, my mom ended up moving back to Texas, so I was never able to get it. And here's the thing that hurts the most, is I had the collector's edition Ocarina of Time with the actual gold cartridge. And that it
like
kills
metallic
me on the
gold.
inside. Yeah.
It looked good.
Oh, it was amazing. I had that one, and it hurts me to this day that I basically gave it away for free. And
I bet you that guy right now doesn't have that cartridge anymore.
Probably not.
And that cartridge is worth a good like you won't be able to find that one under $80 right now.
Right now,
on anywhere you go.
Yeah, the regular version of the game right now, I've seen there's a local GameStop that has it, and it's like $40 or $50 for just the regular version of it. But I checked online one day, and I looked at, it was an unopened collector's edition with a gold cartridge, and unopened it was like $150, $200.
Yeah.
I was like, my God, I missed out on some money there.
That's what I'm finding is going back and getting like the GameCube and the N64 games for me has been a little tricky.
Yeah.
Because of the manufacturing of them. You know, they weren't just compact discs that you could mass produce.
Yep.
They're these weird, funky individual things with,
tiny
with
little
the
discs.
cartridges and then the 3-inch disc for the GameCube. And so, like, your good games right now for either system are still going for what a game costs today.
Yeah. I think I just recently saw a copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee for the GameCube for like $80 to $100.
That's what I've been looking, because I just recently got my GameCube, and I've been looking for a Smash, and yeah, I mean for a complete inbox copy, you're looking at anywhere from $60 to $80.
Yikes!
And it sucks.
That's painful, man. The fact
But it makes me appreciate them more now that I have them. I'm like, oh man, like
100%. What was your favorite game? What was your favorite GameCube game?
So this is actually my first foray into the GameCube. When the GameCube, so when that God, what is that? What generation is that of video games? Is it Gen 4, Gen 5? I don't even fucking know.
That would have been Gen of the Nintendo, because we went from the NES, the SNES, the N64 to the GameCube. So that would have been the 4th gen of Nintendo game systems.
So when that came out, it was competing against the Xbox, and I already had a PS2 at the time, but I went Xbox. I got Xbox that Christmas instead of GameCube, and so this is my first chance with the GameCube. I will say that the game I am most excited for, and the game that I was most excited for when it launched was Luigi's Mansion.
Ooh, yeah.
And actually, I just ordered that the other day. I just got it in the mail like 2 days ago. I haven't played it yet. I'm looking forward to it. That's probably what I'm looking forward to the most on the GameCube.
Oh yeah, I got that when it first came out, because I got the GameCube when it first launched, back in like 2001. Was it 2001?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I was thinking like 2005, but 2001.
Either 1 or 2.
Yeah, no, I had the GameCube when it first launched, and had Pikmin and Luigi's Mansion, and I was unable to appreciate both of those games at the time, just because as a kid, man, I was weird about video games. The one game I loved the most, though, was Star Fox Adventures.
Was that the one where he had the spear, or was that the one?
Yep.
It was the one with the spear.
It's it's a staff. It's not even a spear. It's
Staff.
like it's a staff. Like you shoot fireballs and shit out of it. And I loved it because I had played Star Fox 64 and the Super Smash Brothers, so I knew who Fox was, and Fox was always one of my go-tos on Smash. And then I get to play this game, and I was like, oh, well, it's another Star Fox game where you're just in the fighter the whole time. But then he crash lands on this dinosaur planet, and all of a sudden you're playing Fox on foot, like actually like melee fighting, and it was the craziest thing.
And all of a sudden it's Turok.
Yeah, it's Turok, but with Fox.
We used to, when my friends and I would play Star Fox 64, in the manual booklet, there was a picture of Fox and them running, and then Fox holding the gun, and we used to just like imagine like this like adventure game that we desperately wanted as Fox McCloud, and I guess it came out on the GameCube twice.
You got it. You got it in twice. Did they make a second one?
Yeah, I think there's a second one too,
What?
where it has a lot more of you're in the ship than in the Turok one, but it has like a mix of both, like you're in the ship and then you're not in the ship.
Huh.
I think that might be fake news, but I think
Maybe I'll have to look it up after I get done with here. Going back to more of the pop culture and stuff. You mentioned The Mask earlier. Were you a big Jim Carrey fan in the 90s?
huge. I mean, how could you not be? You had The Mask, you had Ace Ventura, you had Ace Ventura 2.
Which
The Cable Guy, which I don't think I was supposed to see when I saw it. But
no.
At least it didn't feel like I was supposed to see it.
Probably not.
You had
no.
Dumb and Dumber. I think it's safe to say I was a big Jim Carrey fan as a kid.
What was your favorite role that Jim Carrey played? What was your favorite Jim Carrey movie?
My favorite Jim Carrey movie at the time, especially, was Ace Ventura 2. When Nature Calls.
You like the second one over the first one?
I had that VHS, and I played that VHS so many times. I didn't have the first one on VHS, but I had the second one, and I would watch it over and over and over and over again. And the scene where he is birthing out of the rhino to this day will have me on the floor in tears.
The kids on the safari, they're like, "Oh look, a mother rhino giving birth," and it's just him coming out. I was the same way, but with a movie made much later. It was Jim Carrey as the Grinch. I used to be able to quote that movie line for line.
I remember going into that movie, and so we went. It was my mom, my dad, my little brother, and I. And I thought I was gonna be too old for the Grinch. I thought I am like too old for this. This is kiddie stuff. Meh. And when I came out of it, I was like, "That's fucking amazing." That was a really good fucking movie.
You're walking out of there quoting it like it.
Yeah.
Well, what movies were you really into back in your childhood? Like in that early child, I wouldn't say early childhood, but mid to late 90s, I imagine, is when you really. I guess you were more into it. You were more aware of what you were into. What kind of movies was it? What kind of movies from the 90s, even today, do you go back and watch? And one of those movies what are the movies that you could just watch over and over again? That you're not just it's on, I'll watch it. It's dude, I have to watch that movie.
Number one, first and foremost, always will be Twister.
Oof.
Like I said, that formed what my college bill is today. Trying to think of what else from the 90s. Tommy Boy.
Okay, so funny story about Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No.
My best friend who lives next door to me, he and I were roommates when I lived in Uptown. And every day, we would go get food, anytime we would go out to get food or come back, anytime we would sit down to eat together, we would sit down in the living room and put on Netflix. And any time that we couldn't figure out what to watch, if we couldn't decide to watch something new or something like that,
Tommy Boy.
It was Tommy Boy, and it was one of those days well, nothing else is on. Tommy Boy. All right. No, I don't mind at all, Lin Chan 111. I'd be very happy to have you host me. That'd be really cool. I'd much appreciate that. But no, it's to the point where now, anytime he and I are talking, there's a lot of Tommy Boy quotes. It's one of those movies that Chris Farley and David Spade were really they really captured
iconic duo.
They captured lightning in a bottle with that movie.
Yeah.
Because they tried again with Black Sheep.
Black Sheep, yeah.
And while Black Sheep is funny in its own right, and it's got its moments that are really good.
Kill Whitey.
Kill Whitey! Tommy Boy was just much more iconic, much more quotable, much more memorable of the two.
Oh yeah, for sure. Also, so I definitely liked Black Sheep, but my two 90s Chris Farley movies are Tommy Boy and then Beverly Hills Ninja.
Oh, Beverly Hills Ninja got the song Turning Japanese stuck in my head for 2 months.
It was my first collection of my DVDs, like my first few DVDs. it was one of my first few, and I watched it a lot. It was like that, Prince of Egypt,
Ooh,
Austin Powers, Spy Who Shagged Me, and Patch Adams were like my first 4 DVDs.
So what do you think of the rumors that they're supposed to be making a 4th Austin Powers movie?
I don't know, man. Goldmember was funny, but Goldmember was a stretch.
Yeah.
The first 2 are so good. I said that the Goldmember's good, but it's stretched a little thin. I don't know where they could go with it, and I don't know.
Apparently, a lot of the issue with it is that it's really hard to find people to work with Mike Myers. Like, according to a lot of the stuff that I've read about why they haven't made the 4th one, is that just nobody wants to work with him.
I heard that somewhere else recently, and I don't know where it was. I didn't know that was what it was in context to, but I'd heard that here recently too, that Mike Myers was a bit of a pain to work with.
Yeah, and it sucks to hear because Mike Myers is very funny. You know, he had a lot of really great movies, but it's one of those things. It kind of always sucks to hear that one of your favorite actors or favorite comedians or one of your heroes, whatever, is kind of a dick. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what really pains me about. I'm a huge Chris Farley fan and stuff like that, and so it kind of hurts to know that, you know, the dude was really heavy into drugs and stuff like that, and then he had this dark side. And I've read a lot of interviews and stuff where they were talking about Farley, and they said, you know, him and Spade really for a long time didn't really get along. Like, David Spade really couldn't stand him.
Wow.
They just worked really well together.
Just that chemistry. It's sad that Chris Farley documentary or series, whatever they did a few years ago, was really, really hard to watch, but really fucking good.
I still remember there was a video that came out on Facebook a couple years ago. It was Adam Sandler singing a song about Chris Farley, and I started to tear up a little bit whenever he started playing that, man, because it was like it kind of hit home, because, you know, Farley was I don't want to say Farley's a huge inspiration on me, because I don't really do anything that you know I could really draw a Chris Farley influence from, but he was a big part of my childhood and one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, definitely impactful. You know, I used to watch the SNL reruns on Comedy Central back in the day, and it was full of Chris Farley stuff, the Matt Foleys and the Chippendales, like such iconic things that we recognize this guy for, and then he had so many issues behind the scenes. It tore up his life, and it really sucks.
Yeah, man. What was your favorite Chris Farley SNL skit?
Matt Foley's inspirational speaker.
The motivational speaker?
Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah, I used to have, so when I was a kid, I had a computer in my room, and I had Napster back when it was free. And we
back before Metallica fucked it up for everyone.
Yeah, back before that fucking Lars Ulrich, bro. What an asshole.
What a fucking piece of shit. Wanting to get paid for his music, you son of a bitch.
Fucking bitch. I had that bit downloaded onto my Napster, and I would play that all damn day. Definitely my favorite Chris Farley bit.
My name is Matt Foley. I am 35 years old. I am a motivational speaker, and I live in a van down by the river.
Now, son, I like to hear you. What's these? Like, you'll be rolling doobies with old Will Shakespeare.
Oh no, he talks to Spade, and he goes, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? He goes, well, Matt, I want to be a writer. He goes, I can't see real well, Dad. Is that a young Bill Shakespeare? He goes, actually, Matt, we encourage our sons writing. He goes, well, Dad, I wish you would just shut your big yapper.
Yapper.
Your dad tells me you've been using your papers not for writing, but for rolling doobies. Yes, PV Princess 1. What is that side question? We have a side question from Mr. Jet, apparently. Sienna's asking, we want to go water park tomorrow. We shall see. Anyway, back on track. But if you watch in the background of that scene, you can actually see David Spade whenever Farley falls through the table. It was unscripted and unplanned, and you can see David Spade doing his best not to corpse in the background.
Oh, everybody in that scene, man, is trying not to laugh the entire time, and they just can't hold it back.
It's one of those things. Like I don't think in that situation, I like being around someone like Chris Farley who had so much energy and so much charisma as he did. Like, there's no way that you're not laughing at what he's doing.
Oh, there's zero chance.
Like, he was
zero chance.
He was just such a big personality and such a big character. He had all that energy for a big guy, and like, it was crazy. It's probably all the cocaine he was on, but he just had so much energy and like so much. He oozed charisma.
Oh, yeah, and for a bigger guy, and I was chunky as a kid. I was a little pudgy as a kid. It was. I mean, it was always good to see that on television and to see that be funny.
You've seen me. I'm built like a half-melted ice cream cone, so. So anyway, I want to get back to a little bit of the 90s, a little bit of the... So we talked about movies now. We've talked about video games. Were you a fan of comic books at all?
In the 90s, not so much. Most of my comic book knowledge didn't really come until the 2000s. I was always a big Batman fan, but more so because of the animated TV show and the movies, rather than me reading the comic book itself.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. You mentioned Batman, the animated series. Batman, the animated series versus Batman Beyond. Who you got?
Animated series.
I agree.
Even though I love Batman Beyond, the character is voiced by Will Friedle, who was the big brother in Boy Meets World. He was Eric Matthews, and I always loved that. So for him to be in a Batman universe, I loved, and for it to still be, it was still Kevin Conroy, right? Who voiced Bruce in the Batman Beyond? Yeah, I mean it. I do like Batman Beyond, and I'm excited for the maybe upcoming franchise we get from it. The animated series is on point.
Oh yeah, the combination of Kevin Conroy as the voice of Batman and Mark Hamill as the voice of the Joker. To me, anytime I hear someone, if I hear the Joker voiced by someone other than Mark Hamill, it just doesn't sound right to me.
It's so iconic of a dude that they brought him back for the video games.
Exactly, like and he played the voice of the Joker in that. I believe he actually played the voice of the Joker in Batman Beyond as well. Whatever, they actually had the Joker in it
when they brought him back. Yeah, they did the whole movie or whatever when they brought back the Joker, and he ended up actually being spoilers. He actually ended up being Dick Grayson.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never saw that movie, so thanks for ruining it for me, you fucker. But, like, to me, there's just nobody, like, for whatever reason, Mark Hamill nailed that voice. And it's crazy that Luke Skywalker is the one that had the most iconic Joker voice of all time.
Yeah, it's hard to picture babyface Luke Skywalker with the Joker. It doesn't really make sense in your head, especially when you're a kid.
Yeah, and even seeing him, he recently, on the Flash, the live-action Flash TV show, he played the live-action Trickster and had that same voice, and it's just so weird seeing him live and in person with that voice.
Oh, I've got to look that up. I know the Flash. I haven't watched it. I know that Flash series is good. I know they did. Is that the same series that did like a Batman like 1989 episode where they went back to like Gotham in '89?
I don't think so. They did an episode where they went to Gotham, but it was modern day, and they brought in Batwoman.
I know there's one of those CW DC shows.
That might have been son of a bitch. What's that show called? Guardians?
Maybe.
Is that it?
But there's one where they go back to Gotham '89, and they kind of do a couple like Batman callbacks.
It might.
I know there's one where they do Batman, or where they go to Gotham in '98, and Kevin Conroy plays Bruce Wayne in that episode.
Oh no! That is Crisis.
Okay.
Yeah, that's DC's Crisis on Earth 2, I think, or I think it's just called Crisis, because they did.
Those are the only two things I know from that show.
Because they had Kevin Conroy playing a live-action Batman, and they also had Mark Hamill play a live-action Joker.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain. Otherwise, it would have been like, oh, Legends of Tomorrow would be the one, because I know that show deals a lot with like time travel and traveling the multiverse. So if it wasn't Crisis, then it was definitely that one.
I need to get on these TV shows. I hear the Arrowverse is fucking awesome, but I just haven't gotten into it.
It was Crisis on Infinite Earths is what it was called.
Ah.
My only issue, I have one main issue with The Flash.
Yeah.
And it's a glaring issue that I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who has this big of an issue with it, is that every single season of The Flash, spoilers, if you haven't seen The Flash, go ahead and mute it now for the next like 30 seconds or so. Every season, the bad guy is just Barry Allen from the future. It's a different version of Barry from the future, and that's the bad guy every season. You have Zoom, you have son of a bit. There was one that was like the Speed God, and all this other stuff. Like it's all this other stuff, and then you finally realize at the end of the season, it's just fucking Barry. And it's like
just him coming back in time.
Yeah, like we get it. Like they blew their load on using the Reverse Flash in the very first season, and then so they got rid of the Reverse Flash, and then after that it was like, shit. What else do we got? Okay,
isn't that Ed? Is that Tom Cavanaugh?
Yeah. Yeah, that one's Tom
right.
Cavanaugh.
See, I know some of this shit.
Arrow, I'm happy that they ended when they did. Arrow, they this last season was the final season of Arrow, and they ended it before it could get to the point of being super stale. Because
that's always a good way to end it.
So what they started to do is every season they were like, okay, so him and his dad were on this boat, and it sank, and the dad died on the boat, and he ended up on Lian Yu, which is a prison island. Like some Asian island that they ended up on. And it was like, okay, he comes back. And then it kind of reveals slowly through the first season that he was trained by Slade Wilson, who was Deathstroke.
Right.
And he, met this other chick there and, fell in love with her, but then she died, and then this happened. But then the next season, it's like, okay, well, he didn't come back straight from the island. It goes more and more, like, more shit keeps happening from that island. Like that. Oh, okay. He just went to the island and came back. And then there's no. He actually went to the island, got trained, and came back. And there's no. He actually went to Japan or China or Russia and did all this. Like at the end of it, he was like a member of some Russian mafia, and all this other stuff. And it was like, okay, like how much shit could have happened in this 1 year that they're talking about? Because it's like they made it seem like, okay, this all took place in this time. Okay, never mind. It only took place like a month. But then this happened. But then this happened. And every year, it's like they just kind of like shoehorned like an extra little piece into it. And so over time, it got to the point where it wasn't necessarily stale, because at least what they were adding was exciting. But it got to the point where it was like, okay, this trope has kind of been played out. Like we're a little, it's a little cliche at this point. So
it sounds like a Lost spinoff.
Kind of, yeah. It started to feel like that in a lot of the flashbacks. It started to feel like a Lost episode, because he's trapped on this island and weird shit just keeps happening.
Polar bears.
What did you watch the X-Men animated series?
Oh, of course.
Who was your favorite X-Men? Who was your favorite of the X-Men?
Wolverine and Gambit were always my favorite.
Going
back from the very beginning, it's always been Wolverine and always been Gambit.
Gambit has always been my favorite X-Men, and I can't say bad things about Wolverine. The dude's just a total badass. Like he was the ultimate anti-hero. Like it was he was just a fantastic character.
Calling everybody Bub.
But
I loved it.
What's hilarious is if you read the comics and if you actually pay attention to like his description of the comics, Wolverine is 5'2". He's tiny. Like he's super short, but he's just this like tiny, stocky, bad motherfucker. Like
He is a bad motherfucker.
Absolutely.
He is a bad motherfucker.
All right.
But who doesn't want to just have like explosive like card decks? In fact, Gambit, my fascination with Gambit and him and playing cards is what got me to be messing around with playing cards so much, where I taught myself how to shuffle and how to like bridge shuffle and all that.
Oh, really?
All because of Gambit.
Beast McBeastly 12, which is Michael Cole, says Wolverine is the Vegeta of the X-Men.
And you know what? Vegeta is my favorite DBZ character.
Really?
So yeah, I would have to say that's kind of on par.
My favorite.
He's short and he's a badass motherfucker.
My favorite was Vegeta's son.
Trunks.
Trunks, the specifically Android Saga Future Trunks when he first showed up with the sword and just took Frieza out and King Cold in just seconds.
It was amazing.
Yo, that was my favorite. That was my favorite moment of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, or Dragon Ball Super.
Just the build up, because we had so long. We had watched Goku become Super Saiyan and defeat Frieza, and we all wanted to know what the fuck was next. All we had were fucking shitty internet websites that had shitty translations or rumors and bullshit from Japan, and
you had
we just wanted what's next.
The bullshit like fan drawings of like all the different Super Saiyan forms, like, oh yeah, well, he goes Super Saiyan 5 and it's like Super Saiyan 4 but all of his fur is gold and he's white and all this other stuff. That used to be my favorite. Which
now wouldn't be like too off, base, but at the time I remember thinking like Janemba would be like the most like powerful fucking being of all fucking time, and it ended up,
No.
Rumors of Brawly, just not really anything. I'm
we
super, all wanted to know what the next thing was.
I'm super happy they finally made Broly canon though.
With the fucking Super movie.
Yeah.
Oh, that movie was fucking awesome.
I saw it in theaters and it was one of those that I was just like, yes. Like, yes.
That was, to me, it's the best Dragon Ball movie. I loved it, and it's not even very long. It's not too complex.
It was just under 2 hours. They had half of the movie.
Was it really? It didn't seem like 2 hours at all.
Yeah, it was just under 2 hours. But it was like the first half of it, and I love the way they did it because the first half was like the backstory, and like they changed it from Broly being just a whiny little bitch that was mad at Goku for crying.
Yeah.
And I love that they changed that because I don't know have you ever watched the Dragon Ball Abridged series on YouTube?
Of course, Team 4-Star, baby.
Yeah. So they did one.
I'm a big Team 4-Star fan.
They did one of the original Broly movie, and it's talking about like Broly's reasoning. He's like, I'm mad because Kakarot wouldn't quit crying, and you're Vegeta in the back go, he's so cool, but he's so dumb. And they just made a joke about it the whole time. It's like, there's the stupidest fucking reason for hating someone is they cried a lot as a baby. So I'm glad that they got rid of that.
It was.
But I love the fact that it was literally, I think it was basically like half and half. It was like, okay, we've got this story, here's the backstory, here's Broly is just a bad motherfucker from birth. And the only person that can control him is his dad. And then this happens, and then they fight. And the fight lasts the next half of the movie.
For a fucking like hour or so is this fucking epic fucking fight.
And it's such a great fight too because it's a very Goku and Vegeta fight. Where Vegeta's like, no, I'm gonna go first. And he goes out, gets his ass kicked for a little bit, and then Goku's like, all right, my turn. And then, they realize that they're getting the shit kicked out of him, and Goku, of course, never goes full power from the beginning. He has to start in base form, go all the way through all of his fucking Super Saiyan transformations just because we all love it every time. And then my favorite part of that whole thing was when they finally decided that they needed to fuse. The two mistakes that they make, the two fusions that they fuck up, directly parallel the fucked up fusions from the Buu saga when Goten and Trunks were trying to become Gotenks. They were both the same form. You had the one that was like super old and like super thin and just frail, and then you had the super fat one, and it was even caused by the same things. Like one of them wasn't standing at the proper angle, and then one of them the fingertips were like off just a little bit.
I never caught that.
Yeah, it was a direct callback to that, and the fact that Frieza literally gets his ass kicked for an hour straight. Like they just teleport away, and Frieza gets the shit kicked out of him for an hour straight.
Which Frieza always deserves.
Absolutely.
Did you watch the Brawly movie before or after you finished catching up on Super?
I finished Super before I watched Broly movie.
Me too. That's the way I read to do it. But the way it plays out, it's a little weird. Like that, it's like the timeline matches for the end of the fucking tournament, but it also matches for a little bit before. Yeah. And he never goes to that. Oh shit. What's the fucking new Super Saiyan fucking called? The
Super Saiyan. Oh, he never goes Ultra Instinct. He does do
Ultra Instinct. That's what he does. Yeah, he never does that.
He does Super Saiyan Blue, but he never goes Ultra Instinct, which that's why I believe that it's sometime before the Tournament of Power. But also, if it's before that, then why wouldn't they go to get Broly for the Tournament of Power?
Why is Frieza out? Frieza's out.
Yeah. So it's a weird deal. Like, so they've confirmed that it is canon with the main timeline, with the main story, but actually it would have to be after.
It has to be after, but why doesn't he? Because they even mentioned the Tournament of Power.
Because Goku does not have control over the Ultra Instinct form. Even in the Tournament of Power, it's caused by him being like near death, and his body just like naturally goes to Ultra Instinct. But the reason it has to be after is because in the Tournament of Power, when they see Kale go Super Saiyan for the first time, she's the only other person canonically that does that Berserk, the legendary Super Saiyan form with the green hair and gets, super jacked, loses the pupils and everything. She has the same. She has the same transformation as Broly, and so that's why it has to be after, because they even mention they're like they've never seen this form before.
That's weird. I don't know why they kind of set it in there oddly like that.
I think it was kind of an afterthought that they were like, yeah, it's canon. So
I'll take it. It was badass, and the Tournament of Power was also badass.
Dude, my favorite part of the whole Tournament of Power is when it's the fight between Goku and Caulifla. Or no, Kefla, sorry, the fusion.
Yeah.
When she does the blast and he like grinds up the blast with the Kamehameha.
Oh, dude. The Tournament of Power was so sick. I thought they did it right with like this person getting this person getting like their time to shine and then getting kicked out, and this person getting their time to shine and then getting kicked out. And
they did it in such a way that they made who were considered to be the weakest characters in Dragon Ball at the time. They did it to where even they were like actually staying, like they were on par, like.
Tien all of a sudden could stay on par with anybody in the fucking tournament.
Tien, Gohan, even Master Roshi. Master Roshi was a badass in the original Dragon Ball series, but in Dragon Ball Z, he had very few times where he was actually useful. But then in Super, like he goes the big jacked version, the evil containment wave actually comes in really handy. Krillin, even the fight before, when they just did kind of like the warm-up fight, but before the tournament started, Krillin was hanging with Super Saiyan Blue Goku, so
on the rooftop. That was a good fucking scene.
And even like Android 17, who hasn't been relevant since fucking the Cell Saga. Like 17
they brought him back and he was great.
Yeah, 17 and 18 both were just kicking ass.
Oh, them together was in the future, I want more in 17 and 18 together because they were great.
And that's why I loved the end of the Tournament of Power. The fact that the person that you thought was going to win didn't.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh yeah, by the way, nobody eliminated Android 17. And he wins. And everyone was like, what? That I loved that they ended it like that, and it wasn't like, oh, of course Goku wins because duh.
Bro, so I know we've gotten this whole thing about like Goku and everything, and how like that scene of him going Super Saiyan back in DBZ was like the ultimate thing of all time.
Oh yeah.
And we're supposed to love Goku. Goku was fucking terrible.
Goku was a fucking idiot.
Goku is awful.
Like, there are so many fan theories, and like there are so many things I've read online where people are like, Goku is strong, yes, but he's fucking stupid.
Just because he wanted to fight, he almost cost the whole universe existence.
Yeah, he was like, oh, I'm gonna fight all these people, and they were like, all right, well, if you lose, we'll fucking destroy everything. And he was like, fuck it,
all right.
Let's do it. I don't know if you ever saw Resurrection F, but
I did.
In Resurrection F, Goku being way overconfident and being a fucking idiot killed him. Luckily, Whis was able to, rewind, because if not, literally he got taken out by a blaster to the back. Because he was just like...
That scene where Frieza blows up the fucking Earth is so awesome, though.
Oh, yeah.
The colors.
Michael says Piccolo for Dad of the Year, if I can speak. Holy shit.
Piccolo is Dad of the Year.
Piccolo was Gohan's real dad.
Yeah. That's why Gohan wanted to don like the fucking Namek getup.
Yeah, he had the purple gear instead of the turtle gi.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, later on, I think, what was it? It wasn't until he was an adult. It wasn't until adult Gohan that he started rocking the orange and blue.
Yeah, not until even post like Great Saiyaman, he didn't really don much orange and blue.
No, it wasn't until the I think it was the World Tournament in the Majin Buu saga.
Majin Buu saga, yeah.
That he started. I think even in the World Tournament though, he still wore the purple.
I want to say he was Great Saiyaman though.
Oh yeah, he was because there was a point where Videl gets knocked out by that dude, and he goes like Super Saiyan in the back.
Yeah,
and he was still in his Great Saiyaman, like just the black jumpsuit. Man.
Do a whole fucking show on Dragon Ball, bro.
Oh, dude, I can talk about Dragon Ball literally until I'm blue in the face. I've read, so I didn't read the Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super manga. I have read all of the Dragon Ball manga, though.
Oh, the OG.
The OG Dragon Ball. And
how's it hold up to the show?
Actually, very well. They censored the show just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of Bulma nudity in the manga. Like literally I think the very first issue that you see Bulma in, Goku's peeking in on her as she's taking a shower, and so you see her naked in the shower. But in the show, of course, they covered her up with steam and all that because, well, you have to have a little fan service. It still has to be able to show on TV.
Especially when you bring it over to a kids network.
Yeah.
But we didn't get Dragon Ball over here until well after we got Dragon Ball Z, which was weird.
I think right around the time that the Frieza saga ended, as we went into the Cell saga, is right around the time that Dragon Ball started in the U.S.
That sounds about right. And even then, I didn't get too much into it.
Can you bring me another one, please? I still watched it because it was Dragon Ball and then Dragon Ball Z on Toonami.
Yeah.
So I still watched it just because it was there. I did like more of the fact that Goku wasn't super OP at the time.
Yeah.
And that, like Demon King Piccolo or Demon Jr., whatever they called him at the time, kicked the shit out of him, and the only reason he won is because he jumped up and headbutted him through the stomach.
Figuring shit out.
I absolutely loved, though, in one of the world tournaments in Dragon Ball, Krillin fought a dude that was like, his whole gimmick was that he was just super smelly, but it didn't affect Krillin because Krillin has no nose. Canonically, in the show, Krillin doesn't have a nose. Krillin can't smell.
That's fucking funny.
And they've made several references to it throughout the entire show.
I never caught him. I never knew that was a thing. Like in the show that he has no nose. That's fucking funny.
Because like this dude is like, he has the ability to like aim his stench at people, and he hits Krillin, and Krillin's like selling for it and all this, like going nuts. And then Goku's like, "Hey, how could that affect you? You don't have a nose." And Krillin's like, "Oh, you're right." Like he just has this moment of like revelation. He's like, "Oh yeah, I don't have a nose." Okay, and then goes back to fighting. It's the most ridiculous thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just like there's an episode of Super where it makes a callback. It's a filler episode. It's a throwaway episode. It was a baseball game between Universes 6 and 7.
Yep.
And the only person in the entire show that's good at baseball is Yamcha. Because he was a professional baseball player at one point. And so he's the only one that scores. Everyone starts fighting. He's running the bases, and there's a huge explosion at home plate. The dust clears, and it's him laying on home plate in a crater in the exact same position that he first died in the Saiyan saga.
Oh my gosh, from the Cyberman.
Yeah, when the Cyberman kills him the first time, he's laying in the same position on the ground.
Isn't there another callback in Super where when Goku is waiting on Frieza, he's doing like a ghost sparring match, and it's the same fight. It's the exact same fight he did in one of the Dragon Ball world tournaments. Is that right?
Probably.
I think I want to say I saw that somewhere too. That fight is like move for move Goku's same moves he did in one of the Dragon Ball world tournaments.
Possibly. I know there are certain shows that do stuff like that. I don't know if you've ever watched the Boondocks.
Oh, of course.
They're actually one of the fights. I think it was Riley Or no, it was Huey against one of the old lady with the cane from Stink Meters, like Posse.
Okay.
That fight is move for move the same as Sasuke versus Orochimaru from the Genin exams or the Chunin exams from Naruto.
See, I that's up my girlfriend's alley. I never got into Naruto,
Oh, dude, it's so good.
and I'm just now going through book 2 of Avatar: The Last Airbender as well.
Oh man, you're going through it?
Yeah. I've never watched it
Oh,
before.
I'm a little hurt now that you said that. Like,
Everyone seems to be.
Dude.
Everyone fucking loves Avatar.
Oh,
This is
man,
my
no,
first time going through it.
I watched it all when it first aired on Nickelodeon, and I was so excited when they added it back to Netflix so that I could go through it again. Because it's a wonderfully amazing show because it tackles, while being entertaining and it being simple enough for kids to grasp and be entertained by, it tackles so many like glaring social issues that are happening in the world today. Like there's so much going on with the show, but it also simplifies it in a way that like everyone can really understand like what's going on.
I've really enjoyed it so far. The fights are cool. It has a really cool animation style. It seems to be the last like good thing Nickelodeon did. So I'm all over it. I love good Nickelodeon content.
I consider it to be an anime. To me, it's one of those. It may not be. And I told my girlfriend the same thing. I was like, this is not a Japanese show. This show was made
American made. Yeah.
It was an American made show, but still, like, it holds up mostly like an anime. And I 100% I will consider it an anime till the day I die.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I even had to ask and had to look it up. I was like, was this like any kind of like Shonen Jump or like anything overseas before it came over here? And it wasn't.
Nope. It was
amazing.
It was a Nickelodeon original,
which I love even more.
There's one other show that I would consider to be an American anime, and that's Samurai Jack.
Oh yeah. Samurai Jack. That's one.
Samurai Jack.
Samurai Jack.
It was one of the first cartoons on Cartoon Network. It was an American-made cartoon that the outline of all the characters was not black.
Really? They didn't outline the characters, like, to kind of like pop them out?
No. The character outlines were the same like they the outline matched the colors of the rest of their character art.
Oh, interesting.
If you go back and watch it, that's one of the things that like really stuck out is there are no black outlines like every other cartoon.
That is interesting. Damn it! Now I've got to go back and watch Samurai Jack.
Absolutely. Well, did you see the new season of it that they made? Like they did kind of like a reboot of it. Did you watch any of that?
I watched like 1 or 2 episodes, but didn't really follow it.
Yeah, I think I saw like the first 3 episodes of it, and it was one of those that it came on at such a weird time that I was either asleep or like not really watching TV at that time, so I didn't really get to catch it.
Yeah, Samurai Jack's one of those things that I look back on and I remember watching, I remember loving, I remember appreciating, but it was never like oh shit, I gotta stomp down for fucking Samurai Jack.
Yeah. I mean, but Aku was cool as shit, though.
Aku was fucking cool as shit. I agree with that. Aku was fucking badass.
All right. I want to give my chat, shows that there are 9 of you in here, I want to give them a chance right now. If you have any questions for either myself or CJ, I want to give y'all an opportunity to ask any questions that y'all may have and kind of, do a little AMA section. Since we're kind of getting towards the end, kind of winding it down, I want to know what you guys want to know.
Nickelodeon questions. I am so full of Nickelodeon right now. I have watched so much Nickelodeon in the last 2 weeks. Any Nickelodeon questions, please bring them on.
I'm waiting for there to be a Nickelodeon streaming service because we got Disney.
There is a Nickelodeon app, but it's not good. I think that's just because all like the IPs of Nickelodeon are kind of everywhere. It seems like.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Viacom has and what Viacom doesn't.
Well, they were supposed to.
Everything's so sporadic.
They were supposed to be signing a big deal with Netflix to where all the old Nickelodeon shows were going to Netflix. So I don't know if that's still a thing or what.
I mean, we got the new Rocco's movie and we got the Invader Zim movie. But that's really all we got out of the Netflix deal.
I just want them to bring back Rocket Power. I just want to sit back and watch a little woogity 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 woogity.
Fucking Shoobies, though, they won't do it.
All right, Take It Easy 04 has asked favorite wrestling game from each console era.
Okay. Going back how far?
Take It Easy. How far are we going back? We going back to like N64? Are we going back to like how far back do we want to go? I know. There's a little bit of a delay, so it'll be a second before that question.
Because I can go back to like Royal Rumble on the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
We can do like WCW Nitro, the PlayStation version, not the N64 version.
The first one, he said, starting with SNES/Genesis.
Okay, yeah. So SNES, Royal Rumble, PlayStation 1, WCW Nitro is the one I played a lot, so I would have to go with that.
Did you have was it WCW versus NWO?
World Tour, yes. I had a World Tour, and I have it in the other room, actually, with fucking Sting on the cover.
I think you might be the first person I've ever spoken to about old, like, 90s wrestling games who hasn't immediately just said No Mercy.
You want to hear something even more controversial? Is my favorite N64 wrestling game probably isn't No Mercy.
Wow.
I know.
I'm gonna have to put a hot take warning on this, because right now that is probably the hottest of takes right there.
So even when I was a kid, I definitely played more Revenge, more WCW versus NWO Revenge. But even now, going back, I have I'll pull this out real fast.
Take It Easy 04 said shook. Like you have shaken the foundation of my viewers right now. Like I don't.
So if you can, your viewers need to go back and find Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 for the N64, and it's out there.
What?
Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 for the N64 it was a Japanese pro wrestling game made by Aki or AKI or however the fuck you want to pronounce it. And it's it's got your New Japan guys in it.
Take It Easy 04S that had Vader in it, right?
It did have Vader in it. And then once you played the game a certain amount of times, you unlocked the movesets from No Mercy. And then once you played it an even a little bit more amount of time, you unlocked the movesets from Revenge. Or it might be flip-flop. It might be Revenge, then the movesets from No Mercy. And you can create your WWF and WCW characters.
So it's
there.
sort of on the same track as today. It would be Fire Pro Wrestling.
Yes, it'd be like Fire Pro Wrestling today, but that same No Mercy WrestleMania 2000 WCW versus NWO Revenge fighting system.
Okay. All right. So what about? So you did N64. You did PlayStation 1. Let's hit PS2.
PS2 SmackDown Just Bring It.
It was Just Bring It. You didn't like, what was the next one? It was SmackDown Know Your Role?
Know Your Role. Or was SmackDown, or was SmackDown 2 Just Bring It still on the plate? Whichever one had The Rock on it, on the cover, and he was giving like the fucking...
I think that was Know Your Role, because...
That might have been Know Your Role, because I think SmackDown 2 Just Bring It was on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah, that was the one. My brother and I played that a lot, and I always chose Jeff Hardy, because he was the only one that I knew of that you could run and do the swanton over the top. You could do the tope con hilo out onto the floor, and I would just do that for no reason, like onto nobody, just jump out onto the floor over and over and over again.
That's fantastic.
Okay, so that was PS2.
I had Xbox next.
Okay, so you did have an Xbox then.
Yep.
Okay, so what about for the Xbox?
WWF Raw.
So I take it you weren't a SmackDown versus Raw kind of guy.
I got out of wrestling there for a little bit, and about the time that SmackDown versus Raw happened.
That would have been, what, 2007?
Yeah, I wasn't. I was kind of out of wrestling at that point for a second. I was on a bit of a hiatus.
I feel you. I feel like every wrestling fan has had that point where they've been like all about wrestling for the longest time, and then there's a point like it's usually probably around like 13 to 14 years old. Then most people kind of hit that point where they're like, wrestling's kind of dumb, and you take that hiatus until you're like probably right around like 20 to 21, where all of a sudden wrestling's the fucking shit again.
Yeah, that's about right. It's from that time where we start to like take like shit for it. You're like, okay, yeah, sure, why not? But then like you realize,
you know it's fake, right?
People.
You get the
fuck those people. I love that shit.
Yeah, nowadays it's like, I'm a wrestling fan, so fucking what? Like, shit's awesome.
Yeah.
Hero to Million says must have been a fan of WCW during the Monday Night Wars. Dude,
I was.
Wow, really? Jesus.
I was WCW kid.
Dude, you're gonna have to.
WCW started. That's what I started off watching.
You're gonna have to chill out with these hot takes, man. It's getting a little too warm in here.
I'm sorry that most of your viewers are just a little too young and don't remember the good old days of WCW. Rather than the shitty days that came in like 99 and even 98.
As soon as Ted Turner took over, and like Ted Turner and Bischoff, they killed WCW.
False. I disagree with that 110%.
No,
I believe Ted Turner and Eric Bischoff made it better, and then when the AOL Time Warner merger happened, that's what killed WCW.
I feel like NWO killed WCW.
How can it kill WCW when it took it to the heights that it's never seen before?
Because NWO became it was a thing that, yes, when NWO started, it was this thing that really, really took them up. But then it got to the point where that's all WCW was. Like, it was just NWO, and
they did oversaturate it.
It oversaturated, and it got to the point where most of the guys, Scott Hall, Hogan, and all them that were in NWO started being, they had a little more stroke within WCW, and so it started being more about them. Like, they wanted the show to be about them. They didn't want an overall good show. They wanted a show just about NWO. And I feel like that's really where it started to go downhill. Because if you look, the same thing happened with TNA. Once they signed Hogan, all of a sudden they started signing a lot of the old WCW guys, a lot of the old WWE guys that were really close with Hogan and all them. And at that point, it became the Hulk Hogan and Friends show. And at that point, it just started to kind of go downhill.
Gotta get Butcher the Barber Beefcake in there, man.
Yeah, right?
I don't know. I can definitely see where, like, it was the rise and fall of WCW, right? That whole, like, fucking documentary that fucking did. I was a big Batman fan, and you have Sting coming down from the fucking rafters, kicking ass like fucking Batman.
Yeah, but
I was about it.
He was more of the Crow, though. That was the Crow Sting.
Yeah, but I didn't know the fucking Crow as a kid. I knew fucking Batman.
Yeah, I could see it was kind of the same. You had the dude all black, the trench coat, the face paint.
Just vigilante, just fucking coming down. Fuck that side. Fuck that side. It's fucking me.
Yeah,
me against the fucking world. I was all for it.
I feel like that's what kind of took Sting to a new, like, level of popularity at the time, was the fact that he was the one that was he wasn't red or white. He was, he had the wolf pack. He was by himself. He was independent and stuff like that. And I feel like that's
the whole promo he gives before. So there's a promo he gives right before he goes Crow to Lex Luger, where he's like, to just the WCW audience, where he's like, I'm now a free agent. I shed blood, tears, and sweat for this company. This company turned its back on me. My friends don't trust me. Nobody trusts me. Fine, I don't need y'all. And he dips. He goes, becomes fucking Crow Sting, and then there's a fucking segment where Macho Man comes out, right?
Yeah.
Macho Man won't leave the goddamn ring. Macho Man puts a fucking chair down the middle of the fucking ring, won't fucking leave.
Yep.
Sting comes. Quietly just gets him in the ring, hands Macho his fucking bat, and turns his back and says, I'm wide open. You want to hit me? Hit me. Macho doesn't. They both fucking walk off together. Just replaying that in my head just gave me fucking chills. Like, that fucking segment alone, I was like, I'm in.
See, that's why I feel like in the late 90s, WCW had a lot more moments like that where it was like, it was more of those chills moments, but over on WWF, you had the more exciting moments of, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Every time you would hear that glass shatter,
it
was like, some shit's about to go down. Stone Cold's gonna fuck everybody up, and it was just that moment where it was like, oh, dude, who's he gonna stun? Who's he gonna stun? Like every moment he was in, every segment he was in, it was like, all right, who's getting the stunner? Who's getting the stunner first? Because everyone's taking it, but.
Don't get me wrong. It's not that I didn't like WWF. I definitely was a channel flopper. On Monday nights, I would watch WCW, but the previous or the last button was always set to USA Network, and I would go back and forth just all night long, and then watch Mortal Kombat on TNT after Nitro went off the air.
Were you a fan at all of the Mortal Kombat movie from the 90s?
The movie, the first one, yes. Annihilation, I liked as a kid, which is the sequel. It's terrible now. The CGI and Annihilation is
it did not hold up at all.
No.
It did not age well. The
first one is pretty much just Enter the Dragon, but Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, exactly. And Enter the Dragon is one of my favorite Bruce Lee movies. So.
Let's go to an island, fight to the death. I love it.
Yeah, Michael Cole asked, what did you think of the Joker sting from his days in TNA?
Except for YouTube videos, I never watched it, and I honestly don't like it.
See,
I didn't like anybody. It was like too much. You're taking like. I like when wrestling takes from pop culture, right, and uses it.
Yeah.
But not so blatantly like that, like where he is the Joker and why so serious, and I didn't like that.
Yeah. I preferred, if we're talking about like the Joker kind of character, it was Dean Ambrose in the heyday of the Shield. And I don't think he intentionally cut his promos to sound like Heath Ledger's Joker, but it always came off that way. And the only time they ever really made any sort of reference or acknowledgement to it is there was a promo with him and John Cena, and somebody said something about him being like Batman, and Cena said, look, everyone knows that if you were like any Batman character, you'd definitely be the Joker, and he walks off, and Ambrose looks at him and he goes, why so serious? And that was the only time they made any sort of reference to it, but that's everyone in the world was like, dude, Ambrose has cut these promos like the Joker, and it's awesome.
Yeah. But he wasn't in white makeup with the fucking red scars and.
No, he was still in the tactical gear, the Shield get up. It was just the way.
Exactly.
It was the way he spoke and just kind of his overall demeanor during those promos that kind of said Heath Ledger's Joker.
But even like the video of people going ape shit of Finn Balor. Was that like a Wrestle Kingdom or what the fuck was he?
Yeah,
at
when he
dressed up as the Joker?
When he came out as the Joker.
I didn't like that either.
But Finn Balor, when he was Prince Devitt, when the Wrestle Kingdom, a lot of the time when he would do the body paint, he always came out as a character like that. He had Venom, he had awesome. Carnage, he had the Joker, but he didn't it wasn't so much as he was stealing and portraying that character. That was just his face paint or his body paint.
I didn't like it.
Take it easy, 04 said promos are the best part of wrestling.
They are. That's what makes promos make pro wrestling. Promos feed the action in the ring. You can have shitty action in the ring, but if the guy delivers a fucking good promo afterwards, you're gonna remember the fucking promo and not the fucking shitty action.
I feel like it can gotta go either way, because you have guys that are amazing and super talented in the ring but can't cut a promo to save their fucking life. Or you've got guys that, can talk for days and have everybody on the edge of their seat, but when they get in the ring, it'll put you to sleep. And that's where managers come in.
I think promos. But those managers are still cutting promos. I mean, Paul Heyman still cuts promos. Promos sell fights. Promos equal money. Fights are good, and fights can make you popular. But promos promos equal dollars.
Yeah, I get that because I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you a single Dusty Rhodes match that I remember, but to the end of my days, I will always remember that Hard Times promo.
The hard time, baby. The son of a plumber.
The son of a plumber. The American Dream, daddy.
And fucking Flair.
Yeah.
You know, Flair will always be like, oh, this match, this match, this match. But all those matches are the same goddamn matches.
He had the exact same match every time when he was doing the...
Every time.
Back in the territory days, he would go between territories and he would literally do the exact same match every time. He'd take a bump, run up and down the aisles, come back in, take a bump, run up and down the aisles. But he's the limo driving, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, all this other stuff like that. That's what everyone remembers. He was such a huge personality, and I feel like,
exactly.
And that's why I have such a hard time watching 80s wrestling, is because I like to watch wrestling matches.
Yeah.
And 80s wrestling was fucking trash.
Yeah, 80s wrestling for sure is primarily promos. Distinct
promos and characters.
Promos, yeah.
It was gimmicks, characters, and promos because the wrestling wasn't good. Like, I feel like the people that really say, like, oh, no, that was the heyday of wrestling, haven't ever really watched any of those matches. Like, I think they remember the characters and the gimmicks, but I don't think they remember any of the actual, like, wrestling stuff.
Right.
I
think there are different...
That's my hot take for this episode.
I think there are different heydays. I think anyone... Because, like, the 80s was big because of Hulkamania, and, like, wrestling was huge, right?
Yeah.
Then it takes a dip. But then Stone Cold and The Rock come and finally wrestling's back on top. Then it takes another dip.
And that was
meanwhile, there are still wrestling matches, though. Like the matches themselves still contain a lot of the same elements, just either sped up or slowed down.
Yeah, and it's the same psychology to it nowadays. But the difference is, there's just so much that's been done since then. The business has evolved and the business has grown. Wrestling has really grown and evolved over the years, and that's why.
And the fans ask for more.
And that's why I hate seeing. I don't want to come off as some fucking know-it-all wrestling mark, whatever. But like the vets that are like, oh, back in my day, brother, you could throw one punch in a match and the crowd would be on their feet. Yeah, I'm sure they could, but now with everything that's been done, a little harder to do that.
I don't believe that shit either. I don't believe that shit either. I don't believe you could throw one punch and the crowd would go fucking ape shit. Maybe in like the fucking 30s. Everything I have found in this business has to go through a certain kind of bullshit meter.
100%. That's why I don't believe that you should, just because someone's been in the business longer than you, I don't believe that they automatically deserve your undying respect and you should listen to everything that they had to say, because if somebody's been working the same show in BFE for 30 years in front of the same 40 fans, the fuck do they know?
I had a dude in Oklahoma, a vet one time, tell me that I couldn't lace his boots. And I think I've done more in my 4 years of wrestling than he did in his entire career.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of that where you've got these guys that are, I've been in the business for 15 years. Congratulations. What have you done? Oh, well, I worked at this show with this person.
How many matches? 15 matches probably in 15 years.
Yeah. Take It Easy 04 said, big personalities garner emotional investment, which is a critical component to a classic match. And I 100% agree with that. Big personalities are a huge part of wrestling. That's why Stone Cold Steve Austin, before his neck injury, was an extremely technical wrestler. He was a fantastic worker and a great wrestler in ring. But after he broke his neck, who was it, Owen Hart that broke his neck, he couldn't do a lot of that stuff anymore. And so at the time, if you remember, Stunning Steve Austin wasn't nearly the character that Stone Cold Steve Austin was. Once he had to get really develop that character and that personality, that's really whenever he kind of blew up. But also,
Stunning Steve Austin is great. Old WCW Saturday night when they were in the
Blonde
TV
Bombers?
studio in Disney. That Stunning Steve, like his USA championship run, or his TV championship run. Stunning Steve Austin's good shit.
but and what bugs me is the fact that a lot of the time, better actual wrestling matches have been overshadowed by matches with a bigger story to them. My prime example was WrestleMania 3. The whole thing for WrestleMania 3 was Hogan and Andre. Hogan and Andre was the biggest deal. It was the biggest build-up. And it was a match that literally revolved around a body slam.
Yeah.
But nobody remembers. Only certain people remember, or very few people remember, the match that took place earlier that night between Steamboat and Macho Man. That was legitimately a 5-star wrestling match. It was an amazing work of art of a wrestling match, but it was so overshadowed by this big story match, and that's what I don't know. Like, I get it. I get that they were more emotionally invested in the Hogan and Andre thing, but I feel like I would much rather watch a better wrestling match than a better built up match.
Sure, I mean, and I guess your like classic case, especially in a debate against me, is the '97 Starrcade with Sting versus Hogan, which was by all rights a god awful match, but it was one of the best stories in wrestling history, Sting versus Hogan.
Yep.
But the match is atrocious, and it was just a god-awful ending, and it really just kind of laid flat because of it. And 98 kind of started off weird.
Just like most of... If you watch back the original triple threat tag team TLC match at WrestleMania with the Hardys, the Dudleys, Edge, and Christian, a lot of that match was kind of a major clusterfuck. There was those certain spots in there, you know, Jeff taking the spear hanging from the belts, like him jumping off the ladders, going through the ladders, going through tables, all that kind of stuff. Like that overshadows the rest of the match that was kind of all over the place. It was a huge clusterfuck.
Yeah, but it's like an action movie, man. Clusterfuck and big explosions. You're like, oh fuck, that was awesome.
Or Undertaker losing his streak.
I was there.
The match itself, I couldn't tell you anything that happened in that match other than just all of the F5s. Nothing happened in that match that really made me excited to watch that match until the very end when Brock won. Because then at that point it was less about the match and more about what the fuck just happened.
What just happened?
It had this huge shock factor in it, and if that's not a textbook case of less is more in wrestling, I don't know what is.
But only because they had 30 years of history there behind, or not 30 years, but 30 matches of history behind
21.
That's right. Well, I was thinking 30 for WrestleMania 30.
Well, he had been in most of them, but there were certain WrestleManias that he wasn't in. But he had
his first one was like 8 or 9, right?
Yeah,
was his first Mania?
And so he had 21. He was 21-1 at WrestleMania. I guess now he's 21-2 because I think Roman beat him.
But it just had so much time to build that story.
Take It Easy says, still pissed about that. The match was uncomfortable while it was happening and heartbreaking when it was over. The moment is more negative than memorable. And I would agree with that. I
was
would
very uncomfortable.
I would much rather it have been just this beautiful classic match that ended that way, as opposed to it being like, okay, there's F5 number 6, there's F5 number 7.
I don't know if you would have gotten a classic match out of those two, but like, I just speak from the uncomfortableness of it. Like I said, I was there, and it's even thinking back to that feeling now is just a weird like moment in time where you felt the complete suction of air completely leave a place.
Yeah,
like the whole fucking arena felt empty, like it felt dead almost. It was so odd for like one full second. It's weird. It was very, very weird.
It was crickets. Like it was just dead. Like you could hear
even the crickets were silent.
Yeah, you could hear a pin drop in that kind of place.
Oh, it was weird.
That's why, to me, I feel like they should have switched that match and the main event. That match should have been the main event, because the Undertaker losing his streak took so much away from Daniel Bryan finally winning the title.
You can't have that to be the main event, bro. Everybody would be so fucking pissed off. You have to leave them fucking happy. Everyone would be so pissed off if you left them with that.
But I feel like the crowd would have been the same had that been the main event, because Bryan winning the title should have been this monstrous explosion of energy. Like, as soon as he won, like, the crowd should have just been hyped on their feet, fucking just
I can
livid.
Tell you that crowd was
ecstasy.
not excited.
And that's what I'm saying is because of what had happened before with Undertaker losing, everyone, it was just kind of like, okay, cool, yeah, Bryan won, but the fucking Undertaker lost. So I feel like they really, that match, I don't think it should have been booked differently, because I do think it helped launch Brock Lesnar onto this level of being the beast that he is today.
For sure.
And Brock Lesnar, I don't know if Lesnar really needed that jumping off, or I don't think he needed that launch, but it did help.
For sure.
And I think it was...
Put him in rarefied air.
Yeah, I just think they should have done it in a different order. Either put that title match before, or they should have had that title match before, 100%. Because I feel like it just took so much away from this story that they had been building for, like, so long. You know, a year prior, you had Daniel Bryan was getting reactions that were so loud that they were drowning out his music. Like,
yeah.
He had Yes Chants that's so loud that you couldn't hear his music, and he was the most over person in the entire wrestling community at the time. And he wins, and the crowd was just kind of like, yeah, that's cool and all, but fucking Taker just lost. And so I feel like him losing really took away from Bryan winning.
Maybe. I remember people being upset when I left that Bryan won. I don't know if the Taker deal had anything to do with it or not, but I can definitely see where it would have kind of put you in that mindset of like, well, fuck.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, we've been going for a little over 2 hours now.
Holy shit.
Gonna start winding it back down. So we stopped with with Xbox, your favorite wrestling game. I want to continue there, and then we'll call it.
All right.
Just kind of make it through favorite wrestling game from Xbox to today.
So 360's next. 360 would be the one, the Attitude Era one. Whichever game they did the Attitude Era and had all those moments, like with I want to say it was like maybe 13 had Punk doing the fucking crosses on it.
Yeah, it was SmackDown versus Raw 2013, I believe.
That one.
Yeah, WWE 13. Take It Easy says WWE 13.
Yeah, that one was dope. And then Xbox One, bro, I really don't have one because all the 2K games have seemed to suck, in my opinion.
They're so glitchy and just poorly coded and designed games, and
to me, they're just so basic. I mean, yeah, you can do the whole creative, but they're just so basic. The creator wrestler or the story modes to me aren't good, even though 2K has shown they can do some crazy story mode shit with the basketball games.
Yeah, 2K20, like NWA 2K20 has an amazing like career mode and all kinds of other stuff, and then with WWE you get the same game every year.
Yeah.
They just update the roster and kind of update the graphics a little bit. And
personally, even the new one coming out that looks more arcadey looks interesting, but I still probably won't get it.
I mean, at this point, I prefer playing their mobile games to their actual like 2K games.
Yeah, I've heard the Super Card game is good.
Dude, it's actually really entertaining for a while.
Yeah, my friend who got me back into wrestling is, I believe, still super into it. Man, it's so hard for me to find a wrestling game now, and I haven't tried Fire Pro yet. I know Fire Pro is supposed to be really, really good.
It's good, but it's so hard to figure out.
Yeah, I've heard, it's a different grappling system.
It's real weird. It's real weird.
I want to try Retromania. but I haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of the retro guy. Like every time I see you streaming on here, it's always like streaming in retro, and I'll jump in. It's like I remember your playthrough of Metroid Prime. I remember your what are you playing right now?
So right now I'm going through Ocarina of Time,
Still,
as you said earlier.
Still on that?
I'm going through the Water Temple. I lost a key. Like I got out of order somehow, and I've got to find my way.
Oh man, the Water Temple.
Which really, yeah, because the Water Temple can get so screwed because all the levels of water and bullshit.
Yeah, man.
But I'm playing through that. I've got, like I said, I've got Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube. I'm probably gonna start at some point. I'm gonna start
hold up, CJ. Donovan, he got it on Amazon.
Star LED thing he's got. Yeah, it was off Amazon. It was like $60.
I think my girlfriend actually ordered one. It's on its way. After she saw it, she was like, "Yep, ordering that." So now we're gonna have one.
It's awesome. I turn it on before I go to sleep every night.
That's fucking sick, man. All right, so you are here on Twitch. You do stream. Do you stream with any sort of regularity, or is it kind of just like whenever you?
It was at a time, and I'm trying to find. I didn't like the schedule I was going at that time, which is around like 8 o'clock or so. I'm trying to find what schedule works for me right now, and I just haven't found that perfect balance yet. And there's so many. I actually just ordered a whiteboard on Amazon today to put next to my little station here. That way, because I've got such gaming ADD going on right now, because I got so much that I want to do. I'm having to like write what games I have down, what games I want to do, and I'm trying to get shit more organized.
I don't know if you've ever watched one of my streams, but I'm liable to go through like 4 different games on stream just because, I'll get tired of playing Rocket League and jump over to Warzone, and then I'll get tired of that and jump over to like Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, and
like, so I've got good nights for those. I do the exact same thing, and what I do then is I'll pull it out. I've got this N64 EverDrive.
Okay.
And I've got the entire N64 library on here.
Yikes.
And so there are nights where I'll just jump around N64 titles, or I have a Super Nintendo Classic that I have hacked, so I can put any Super Nintendo title I want on it.
You really should do that. If I remember correctly, you haven't reached the level of affiliate on Twitch yet, have you?
I have not yet.
Once you do, because I'm sure you will, if you stream with any sort of regularity. Once you do, what you should do is there's actually you can set channel points for your Twitch channel, and on there you can have it. A certain amount of points can be redeemed for a certain command or a certain thing that you'll do, whatever. And I think on that, if you're playing that N64 that EverDrive, you should really put on there for like 5,000 or 10,000 points. Select the game. Yeah, select the next game you play, and play it for 30 minutes, an hour, however long you want to play. Just kind of let people do that, and kind of just pick. I think it's better to have people that are actually watching you and invested in you to be able to like, okay, I want to see you play this. But
and that would be dope because like I definitely I want to discover new gems, right? Things I haven't played before that I haven't thought about playing.
Yeah.
I want to find those, and then I want to know what the fuck they were playing too. What's their favorite game on here? Why is it theirs?
Exactly.
All kinds of shit I want to fucking figure out.
Take It Easy wants to know. He said they were thinking about getting one of the EverDrives. Is it worth it?
Completely worth it. They're a little expensive. I paid about $100 for mine. But if you want to play all the games, like I've got all the titles. Their U.S. releases, their Japan releases. I have homebrews on there. I've got Game Sharks on there. I've got literally everything, and it's like 10 gigs.
Yikes.
So
that's really Which thinking about
not that much.
Yeah, like I have I've got single games on my computer and on my Xbox, stuff like that are much larger than the entirety of the N64 library with Game Sharks and all that.
Yeah. So it gives you the size of the games next to their files on the EverDrive, right?
Uh-huh.
Your largest game on the N64 will be like 32 megabits.
Yikes. That is not a large game at all.
Like, I want to say, like, Ocarina of Time is, like, 36, 32. I want to say Mario 64 is only, like, 16 or something like that. It's not very big.
You know what game I would like to see you play, since it's on there and you have it? Conker's Bad Fur Day.
You know what? It's on my list because I never played it as a kid, but my older brother's, like, best friend had it. And, I definitely want to play Conker's Bad Fur Day, and it's a Rare title.
Yeah,
and I love Rare games. Banjo-Kazooie,
have you
Donkey Kong.
Have you seen that? There's a like conspiracy that that Conker, Banjo, and Donkey Kong all take place in the same universe, and it's like this ever-growing thing. It's like, okay, so they were on the same universe, which means. But Banjo-Kazooie was on Super Smash Brothers, which means that they're in the same universe as Mario, who was in the same universe as Sonic, and Sonic knew Santa Claus, and it was like this whole, like, this growing list of, like, all these character connections. It was like, by the end of it, it was like Conker and Scooby-Doo were in the same universe. It's so crazy.
That's awesome. I will look at that's fucking awesome. Have you heard? I know you're trying to wrap things up. I'm about to introduce a new subject here.
It's fine. I've got all night, man. I'm usually on here till about 3 o'clock in the morning anyway. So.
You know the game Earthbound?
Yes.
Right. With SNES.
Yeah.
Did you know? Or have you seen that theory where that's like the spine of like what became Pokemon?
No.
So in Earthbound, right, the little sprite for Ness.
Yeah.
Looks a lot like the sprite for your main character in Pokemon. In Earthbound, you have to travel to 8 different towns to collect 8 different melodies to eventually fight Gygus, or Mother, who's the bad guy.
So you're doing 8 gym battles, collecting the 8 badges to fight the champion or whatever.
And if your viewers, or if you want to, if you Google Gygus Earthbound, it brings up this like character floating in like this like bubble tank who looks a lot like Mewtwo and is a very it has like psychic powers and this, that, and the other. And then it's actually the first RPG game that Shigeru Miyamoto says that he ever completed.
Hold on, I'm looking this up right now. I'm gonna see what Gygus looks like. I mean, kinda.
If you see the fucking picture of him in the fucking bubble.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I've got the picture of him in the bubble, and kinda. Like I can definitely see the resemblance, and on like an 8-bit level, I can see how that would be, it's look very similar.
Like I said, to me, I believe that Earthbound is what became Pokemon.
Okay, so do you think Earthbound took place before the Great War in Pokemon?
I think that I think yeah. Now that you say that, I think that very well could be a case.
So maybe like something happened with the Great Pokemon War that wiped out everybody, or kind of brought about a whole new story, or
even like the bad guys you fight in Earthbound are these little like weird characters, like you fight like a trash can. You fight weird little things.
There's your Garbodor.
Little creatures. Yeah. I don't know. That's a theory I have stumbled across, and I'm a full believer in it, and it makes me want to play Earthbound even more because I haven't completed it. Well, it's weird.
I feel like that weird theory is a really good place to end. There's one more thing I want you to let the people here know. Where can they find you on social media? Where can they find you on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch? Just hit them with that.
Yeah. So if you would like to keep up with my wrestling goings on, I am at Instagram and Twitter under @CJ Ward 989. You can find me playing all your retro 90s goodness here on Twitch at twitch.tv/chilledinroasted.
I'm going to put that in the chat right here so that everyone can see it and kind of get a link to that. And
then the Seinfeld podcast is on Podbean, and it's called This Is the Show. And if you need a little acronym to kind of help you remember This Is the Show, it's TITS. So it'll have an easy way for you to remember.
It's a very Minajatwa thing of you to have. Tits, it's tits. All right, man. Well, I have really appreciated having you on here. I really had a lot of fun with this conversation.
Man, thank you for having me on, man.
Oh, of course, man. We've been going for a little over 2 hours now. I think me and Dimitri only did like an hour 20, so you've managed to beat him by an hour, and this is gonna take fucking forever to download and upload on fucking YouTube.
It will.
And
Yeah, it will.
all right, man. Well, again, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for spending your Friday night here on Party Viking Talks. I really appreciate you, bud, and I hope you have a great night.
Brother, I'm going to be chill. I hope you're chill, and I hope all your viewers are chill as well.
You know we're always chilling in here. One sec. Alright, guys, that is it for the second ever episode of Party Viking Talks. Appreciate you guys hanging out, stopping by, talking to Mr. Chill himself, CJ Ward, about everything 90s wrestling, no matter what it was that came up. I am going to take a short break here for about 5 minutes or so. I need to eat this delicious pizza that my girlfriend cooked and this awesome garlic bread that she made me. And I will be right back here in probably about 5 to 6 minutes or so, give or take how long it takes me to devour all of this pizza. So if you guys want to hang out, I'm still going to be streaming. I'm going to jump on some Rocket League once we get done here. Other than that, thanks for stopping by, guys, and I shall return shortly.